Drama, 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 drama.
Hello, programa. It's me, Miss Doyle, your drama mama, and here we are outside at our school playground, and we are doing something called yarn bombing. Yarn bombing is not a violent, crazy bomb. It's a subversive, funny thing to do to brighten people's days and be cheerful and playful with knitting and yarn. So at the moment, I am sewing this knitting on to this tree. So when the kids come to school, they will see a really funny, happy tree in a colorful sweater. And I'm going to knot it here and cut this off right here. And you'll notice some branches growing through, so we want to respect those branches and let them poke through. So we very gently, very carefully pull them through the knitting. So today we're going to do some knitting tricks with our yarn installation. So we're learning how to knit with needles. No problem there. We know it takes time, but it's so much fun and it's worth it. Today I want to teach you how to do something funny and knit with pencils. Okay? Most of us have pencils at home. The erasers help the knitting stay on the pencils. I also want to teach you how to knit with chopsticks. Okay? We know chopsticks from lots of Asian restaurants. They're bamboo or plywood and disposable. And we can use these to eat, and then we can wash them off and use them to knit. So we'll need yarn, chopsticks, and let's do this. Open up the chopsticks and separate them. Get your yarn, and we start with a simple slip knot. Slide it onto one of the chopsticks, and then we do something called casting on. It's hard to explain it, so I'm going to show it to you now in slow motion. You've wound the yarn around your thumb, and you slowly pick it up with the point of the chopstick. Okay, and now we knit. We've gone over knitting before, but basically you pick up a loop, wrap the yarn around the back stick, and make another loop. And all the loops slowly start to stack up. And loop after loop, loop after loop. You're knitting. That's all. Pick up a loop, wrap the yarn around the bag needle, and make a new loop. The more you do it, the smoother your knitting becomes, and the more happy and confident you feel, and the more relaxing and enjoyable knitting is. Truly, it just takes practice. And with chopsticks, you know what? It's extra fun. Okay, we're gonna do this again in slow motion. You pick up a loop. You wrap the yarn around the bag needle, and you pull off that old loop. You pick up a loop, wrap the yarn around, pull off the old loop. And you just keep going, and your knitting grows. Take your time. In through the front door, around the back, peek through the window, off goes Jack. Wow, look what you did! And remember, you can start small. So now let's knit with pencils and yarn
a pencil sharpener, some nail polish, and some sandpaper. So, first thing we do is we sharpen pencils to get them pointy, just like knitting needles are pointy. So far, so good. Stick those erasers onto the end of the pencils. And this is optional, but you can use some sandpaper to smooth out the pencil tips. This is so the yarn doesn't get caught. You could also use some nail polish. Again, it's just smoothing out the tip of the pencil so the yarn doesn't get caught. Okay, great. Now we've got our knitting needles made out of pencils. So pick up your yarn and make that very simple slip knot. You got it. Slide that pencil through. And now we do that casting on, where we're winding the yarn around our thumb and pointer finger and creating loops to slide on to the pencil. This is how we start to knit on a pencil. Okay, stay with me. We've got this. Pick up your other pencil, and now we begin knitting. Remember, with one pencil you pick up a loop, you wrap the yarn around the pencil and create a new loop so you can pull off the old loop. Let's do it in slow-mo. Pick up a loop, create a new loop, pull off the old loop. Pick up a loop, create a new loop, pull off the old loop. Pick up a loop, create a new loop, pull off the old loop. You got this. I know you can do it. And you can also do this in slow motion. The more you practice, the faster you'll go. But just take your time. Knitting with pencils is really fun and quick, and it's just really silly to see the knitting grow on pencils. So let's take our knitting projects outside. We can wrap our knitting around trees. We can stretch it so it's nice and tight and won't come off. We can add fringe to add a whole new texture, just a bunch of loops. Sometimes your knitting might fall down, and a ladder comes in handy to climb up and yank up the knitting to another level. Here I'm tying this knitting sock to a top pole and adding pom-poms. Oh, this is a stop sign.
These are pom-poms. You might remember we made pom-poms in an earlier video. Two tones, single colors, any color yarn. We're going to string these pom-poms together in braids and loop them to connect all these beams together. It's going to be beautiful.
Okay, that's the same stop sign. This tree started off with just a branch. Then I added more fringe. Then I knit the trunk. And I added more colors. And with the fringe blowing and a spring wind, it felt complete. This started in the winter with just a couple of socks and slowly grew. More signs, thinner trees, more poles. You can even add on signs. Oh, when you knit in the winter, the funny thing is that when spring comes, the growth and the branches will sprout through your knitting, which is just so beautiful and special. Nature comes through the knitting, and so do puppies. Yep. All those loops, one loop at a time. You choose the colors, you choose the patterns, you knit around chains. You can knit up and down funky bumps in trees. That's okay, keep knitting. Add pom-poms. The pom-poms make everything more fun and festive. You can also add some braids to branches. We can braid with 3, 5, 7. Look at all these colorful loops. That's what knitting is. Who knew making all these loops on a couple of pointy sticks could be so much fun and create so much beauty for us all to enjoy. You knit around anything you can get your hands on, and that's yarn bombing. That's its own fun knitting graffiti. Don't let anything stop you, baby. Keep knitting.
So thanks for watching, and thanks for trying yarn bombing and knitting installations in your neighborhood, at your school, at your house. It's a really fun thing to do, and it's a really great way to bring joy to your neighbors and friends. See you next time.
Drama, drama, drama.